Gentlemen, gentlemen, gentlemen. Heart of the Order is back. All three of us are here. It's Tuesday morning on the day of the first game of the World Series. Guys, a couple months ago, I don't know if I ever thought we might get to this stage. The World Series.
The Fall Classic.
The Fall Classic. How does it, I don't even know. I can't contain my excitement, to be honest with you. Because, back in March, no one knew if we were even going to have a season. And here we are after a 60-game regular season, a few rounds of the playoffs. We're at the World Series. How does it feel to actually just have this matchup on the eve of it happening, the World Series? How does it feel to just be here?
It feels good. It really does. Like you said, you didn't know if we'd be here. The fact that we made it is, I guess, it's incredible, and I'm happy for it. It's been a fun ride in the playoffs. A lot of moments, new stars, superstars also producing. And the bottom line is we get the two best teams in this matchup for 7 games, and I'm ready for a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I feel surreal. I go back to not just March, but the fact that when we're in late June and us three have to meet every week just to talk about labor disputes and all of that and just go through the whole emotional roller coaster that entails. But yeah, I think we made it through this weird season, this weird expanded playoff, and we still get the two teams that have the best record on each side. So like Trey said, it's going to be a heavyweight fight. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
So it's, as you can tell by my morning glow, but it's we made it. World Series. Let's get it.
Yeah, we've come a long way since March, since talking about labor disputes and contract extensions and what was actually going to happen. But we're here. So the World Series starts tonight. It's Tuesday night. World Series starts between both number 1 seeds in the American League and the National League. We got the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are here for the 3rd time in 4 years. The Rays are here for the first time in I don't know how long. 12th.
Yeah, 07.
07.
08.
08, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
That was close. Close enough. Longoria and Melvin up to one on the team. So
so the Rays went 40-20 this year. The Dodgers went 43-17. It looks like we got Tyler Glasnow versus Clayton Kershaw tonight. We're gonna get into the matchup as we go on into this episode, but this is what we all expected the matchup to be, the World Series matchup to be. I can't remember. So I know I had the Rays Dodgers. Did you have Rays Dodgers, Brooksy?
No, I had Yankees Dodgers.
Yankees Dodgers. And then
no, you didn't have Rays Dodgers. You all said Yankees Dodgers.
No, I didn't. I had Rays Dodgers. You really think I'd put the
I'm
Yankees?
Going back.
You think I'd put the Yankees in the playoffs, Dre?
I'm pretty sure you said I can't pick against the Yankees. I'm going Yankees Dodgers, and I went Twins Dodgers. Preseason, you picked the Yankees.
Yeah, preseason.
Playoffs, you did pick the Rays.
Preseason, I picked the Yankees. I'll admit that, but I'm pretty sure I picked the Yankees.
I'm pretty sure when the postseason started, you picked the Rays, and yeah. I stuck with the Twins, and that kind of hurt because I was forced to root for the Astros, but my Rays saved me.
I mean, actually, you did pick the Astros.
They saved me.
So we got a pretty good matchup here, guys. I mean, what are a few of the things you guys think we should watch, or what should we expect here in Game 1 tonight? And then we'll get into the ALCS and the NLCS, and then we'll break down the rest of the matchup. But what should we expect in Game 1 tonight? We got Tyler Glasnow, a former Pittsburgh Pirate that you guys know fairly well, versus Clayton Kershaw, who's the man, the myth, the legend, but he doesn't perform well in the playoffs. What should we expect in Game 1 here tonight?
I'm gonna start Brooksy if you don't mind.
You're good.
The first thing I think to expect is I really want to see how Kershaw sort of rebounds.
Yep.
It ain't even just his past start. It's like his entire postseason career. He's just not been there, like effective. He hasn't had his best stuff. So I expect the Rays to try and capitalize on that. I expect guys like Ji-Man Choi and Rainier Rosarina, a new star in this league because of his postseason, which has been insane, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I expect them guys to try and capitalize on him and try to get on him early, try to get on him often, try to get Glass in a lead. That's number one. Number two, I expect these managers to be extremely creative because to me, these are two of the most creative managers in Major League Baseball, and Kevin Cash and Dave Roberts trying to be innovative in how they manage bullpens, how they handle matchups through analytics and things like that. So I expect that as well. And number three, most importantly, I just expect a great game. Like Glasnow not pitching against Garrett Cole, or I'm sorry, that's the Yankees. Well, see, that just gives me nightmares. Like thinking about it, like clearly, like I'm scarred. I'm just scarred for life. Like,
Tell the Glasnow.
You did see that matchup once in the playoffs. Already,
I know, but it scarred me. It'll always scar me. I expect Glasnow to kind of go out there and honestly outduel Clayton Kershaw. I think Kershaw's an ace, but Glasnow's an ascending ace. So I expect him to go out there, have his best stuff, and see what he can do against this high-powered Dodgers lineup.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, Kershaw going against his reputation in the playoffs and getting the ball in game one, setting the tone. But one thing that I noticed, like so far this playoffs, is I feel like starters many times have not gone past like 6 innings, and there's been like a pretty short leash on starters. Maybe it's like the high leverage situations and when it's the third time through the order. But like in the Rays game 6 and 7, like Kevin Cash pulled starters each time with no runs in like the 5th inning or so. So it's interesting of like the pitching management. So like now you actually have days off within a series.
Yeah.
So it's game 1, game 2, day off. Game 3, game 4, day 5, day off. Game 6, game 6, game 7. So like now you have a little bit more time within the series. So like how do you manage your pitching staff? Because I think that's like particularly like very interesting when it comes to October, because you have guys that are like, okay, well, he pitched 3 days ago. Can he go today? So I think how do you manage your staff? Because each of them have, bullpen arms and strength and depth, but how are you going to manage your starters? Because I think there's only been, like I read, what was it, one? Yeah, that only in 2 games in the whole playoffs has a pitcher gone 7 innings or more.
Mm-hmm.
And only 1 game has each starter gone more than 6.
Oh, wow.
So it's like,
that's a wild stat.
Yeah, and I think it was the game where each one more than 6 may have been like they're all in the wild card round. So like since then, that just hasn't happened. So like, how do you manage that? And I think it's very interesting, and like we can talk more about it later, but like how the Dodgers sort of responded with their backs against the wall down 3-1. Like that was very impressive to me. But I think it's going to be very interesting of like the chess matches between these two organizations in terms of how they manage their pitchers.
Yeah. I think it's always interesting especially once you get to like this stage of the playoffs where it's pretty much like there's no, I don't know how to phrase it. Like there's no like set way to use your pitching rotation. I mean, I remember 2 years ago, I'm going to use the Red Sox, for example, when the Red Sox got to the World Series and the series is almost over, and here comes Chris Sale in from the bullpen to close it out. Like one of the best pitchers in the game, number one starter, coming in from the bullpen to close it out. And then you have Nathan Eovaldi going like 8 innings in the extra inning. I think it was game 4, maybe, or maybe game 3. In that wild, like long, because like there's necessarily like no rules really. Like you're just going to use pitchers left and right, and I think that's when, like, that goes back to what Dre said with the creativity of everything going on and stuff like that. I'm getting work emails already. Like, what is going on? Sorry, but like it's just going like I think it's going to be really interesting to see, like you said, how the Dodgers and the Rays both use their bullpens. They've both been pretty solid throughout the year, along with their starters. Because like I think that at this stage of the season, like there's guys are like, I don't care if I have 3 days rest. Like if you need me, put me on the mound. And I think the Dodgers have guys that are willing to do that, like Clayton Kershaw, like Dustin May, and a couple other guys. And I think the Rays have the same amount. I mean, if Glasnow on 3 days rest is like, yeah, I'm good to go, and the series is on the line, like he's going to be on the mound, 100%.
100%.
And so I think that brings a lot of like interesting twists and turns into the World Series, especially at this point in the season, because there's nothing after this. So it's like, put it all on the field, let it go, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, you're fighting for that trophy. You have to leave it all out there. And
That's
I
like a medal.
yeah, the one with the flags on it.
Yeah. The big medal. But speaking of like kind of how pitching stats were used and stuff like that, I do want to talk about Game 7 of the NLCS between the Dodgers and the Braves. So obviously Clayton Kershaw didn't get the start. It was Dustin May that came out in Game 7. The Dodgers came away with a 4-3 victory over the Braves in Game 7. Cody Bellinger went yah in the 7th inning to put them ahead 4-3, and it was over from there. What did we think of that series, guys? I mean, the Dodgers came back from 3-1, and fun fact: 16 years ago, the Boston Red Sox became the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit and beat the Yankees. Just want to throw that out there.
Living in the past. Look at this guy living in the past.
Hey, I gotta do what I can, man. I gotta do what I can. But the Dodgers came back from a 3-1 deficit. Dustin May pitched pretty well in game. Oh, he actually only pitched it, didn't he?
Yeah, he started and he opened the game.
Holy cow.
He found out at 1 o'clock on.
Yeah.
He found out at 1 o'clock on Monday that he was or Sunday that he was gonna open, or whatever the game was. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday.
So it was Sunday. So he's probably good to come back. Like you would think that he'd be good to start Game 2.
Well, the way he's been used this postseason is like he's been used in 1 or 2 innings. Like he hasn't like fully started a game. He hasn't been stretched. He's just been used in long relief situations. So I wouldn't shock me to see him pitch back-to-back days, especially with days off. He might even pitch Game 3 after that too. Who knows? I mean, situation depends, but that's the way he's been used, and to have that kind of weapon in your arsenal, if you're Dave Roberts, that's going to give you an advantage right off the bat. So we'll see when Dustin May really kind of gets put into play here. Him and Gonsolin have kind of both done that. I think Gonsolin's been stretched a little bit longer, but again, to have both of them, because they both are gas. Like Dustin May is the fastest 2-seamer I've ever seen, and touches 100.
He's got crazy movement too.
It's wild, and you got to see it on Pitching Ninja. During the regular season, the movement on it is just it's out of this world.
It's nuts. I don't know how people hit it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
I would like to see the percentage of how many people have been able to hit that pitch.
But you talk about him pitch 1 inning though. Yeah. He had to. Yeah. He was very erratic in Game 1 or in Game 7 in that first inning. He had
2 walks. Yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 4-pitch walks. He threw 9 balls before he threw his first strike.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to win you games, and I'm pretty sure they took a 2-0 lead right off the bat there. And if he would have pitched second inning, it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
So kudos to Dave Roberts for kind of noticing that and yanking him. And it's also how you utilize him, but he would stretch him a couple innings as well, but he could not. He just couldn't locate anything.
Yeah.
And part of that, I understand. 23 years old, Game 7, just found out 6 hours ago you're going to start. Like, that's a lot of pressure, you know?
But I think he's one of those guys that can live up to that pressure. I mean, he's been good all year long. Like, he's been solid for him.
He didn't that day.
Yeah. He'll get his chance.
He will get his chance.
I think Urias was the guy that did a lot of the heavy lifting Sunday. So I think he'll probably be the guy that will be a little bit pushed out there. But then you have, I would assume,
Walker.
My speech impediment almost came out when I said Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler. So he pitched Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we could maybe go Wednesday where you get him full rest on Game 3.
Buehler.
I'm just having trouble saying Walker.
Buehler.
But like one thing, when we're just like thinking about like the Dodgers pitching depth, think of it this way: they lost a whole starting rotation in like Ryu,
Price,
Maeda, Rich Hill, David Price, and Ross Stripling, and they lost like a whole rotation that would start for like plenty of other teams into this year, and they're still fine. And I think like my guy that I'm like keeping the most eye on, and like it's sort of like the Dodgers calling card is like their playoffs being like the playoff struggles, is their bullpen, but the Gratterall. So I read that he's in the 100th percentile in fastball, but the 1 percentile in whiff rate, meaning he throws very hard and he can't miss bats. So like that's very interesting, where it's like, oh shoot, what are we gonna see here? So that's a recipe
kind of combination is that? What?
It's unreal. Hell? Not even if it's like 97 and 13. No, he throws the hardest and he also gets hit the most.
How does that happen?
You're dropping some great like facts and statistics this morning, and I'm absolutely loving it.
I was awake at like 5:30 this morning, being like,
"It's the World Series. I won't expect anything less from Brooksy."
Insane. But like that's where like my main eyes are okay, well, how do you manage your arms when, you know, if your starters, if your Kershaw's and Buehler's like are knocked out early, because like you need to manage your arms in a very like certain way, and I think it's going to be very interesting chess match.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, hold on, we got Tim Kirchin's going to be smiling ear to ear. Like, I'm still shocked by this stat. Like, what the hell? How do you throw 100 miles an hour and you can't miss bats?
It must not have a lot of movement.
I don't know. Like, that just takes me back to the Padres series. He came on, he struck out 2, and then Manny Machado hit one in the air, and he just waving at him and causing a ruckus. And I loved every second of it because I was like, this is a real rivalry right here. And then they got back to baseball. It was pretty cool.
I'm surprised at how much like Manny Machado is hated by the Dodgers now after playing with them.
It ain't even the Dodgers. It's everybody.
Yeah.
He gets under everybody's skin. And you know, part of me, I see it. Like I see things why people would hate him. Like teammates would hate him for loafing.
Yeah.
You know, and he got a lot of flack for that during his time at the Dodgers when they were in a playoff push, especially in the World Series. I think that's when it happened. It kind of reminds me of A-Rod, like a modern day A-Rod in terms of how he approaches the game and how he, you know, day by day.
Kind of flashy, nonchalant in a way, like thinking.
I don't mind. It ain't even like the flashiness. It's just like an attitude thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, again, going down the line, or like kicking a ball or kicking a glove or something like that. I feel like it's something A-Rod would do. Like A-Rod literally did smack a ball out of a glove's hand. So that's what I see. I see A-Rod clone.
I can see it. I definitely see it. But like getting back to what Brooksy said, like I feel like how the Dodgers have used their bullpen has always been a problem in the past. I mean, they had Kenley Jansen they still have him.
Yeah, he stinks. So I hate Kenley Jansen.
Yeah. And I feel like they're like the back end of the bullpen has always been a problem in the playoffs, especially. So it's gonna be interesting to see with all the arms they have, how that breaks down as the series goes on, and how much that comes into play. And I mean, it always does. So I think that could definitely will be something to watch as the series gets going here.
I'll say this: if you're the Dodgers and you don't get on their starters early, you're done, because I already know what's going to happen with the Dodgers. They got 3 arms, and they got a plethora of arms, but specifically 3 guys that can just go out there and dominate you at any point in time. And the way that Kevin Cash uses them, he'll mix it up. Like Peter Fairbanks will close, and then he'll come in the next day and he'll pitch in the 6th. Yeah. Nick Anderson's the same way. He'll close one game, the next game he'll come in and he'll pitch in the 6th or 7th. Like those 2 guys right there, they're unhittable. And he might stretch them in 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 3rd. Diego Castillo, same thing. Like I give the advantage right there to the bullpen advantage. I give them to the Rays, but the key for the series is how Dave Roberts is going to use his bullpen, because they're going to have to be the ones that kind of shut the games down, especially in Kershaw starts, who I don't think is going to be able to go 7-8 innings anymore and give you dominant baseball, especially in October. He hasn't done it in the past. You can't trust him to do it now. Like the same analytics, Dave. This is just common sense. Playoff Kershaw is a real thing, and he just folds. If you're going to go out there and put him out there, you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready to yank him. And there's just nothing you can do about it. Like, been here 4 years in a row now. You got to use that bullpen to your advantage, especially in game 1 with Kershaw on the bump. Yeah,
I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if Kershaw goes out there and just blows up like he did in the NLCS. I mean, I don't know if anyone really expected that to happen, but like he just hasn't had a good history when he gets in the playoffs. So at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes out tonight in game 1 and just like blows up.
Might be the best regular season pitcher of all time.
Which is wild. Like, which is absolutely wild, because it's like 2 different pitchers. Like, it's 2 like completely different pitchers, and he's absolutely.
He turns into Paul Maholm.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's.
It's sad when you see like whenever he's pulled and you see him in the dugout and his eyes just look so much softer and sadder, and it's like, oh, come on, man.
So bad. I love Kershaw. Like
I hope he comes out today. I want the Rays to win, but I hope he pitches very well tonight and wins game 1.
I like the Rays. I like Clayton Kershaw. I like the Rays. I really want to see like his ERA and stuff from the playoffs compared to like the regular season. And
I'm regular.
Since you're looking, let me get a baseball reference.
All right, I got you.
That's where I'm on. I'm on Baseball Reference right now. And
this one started in the beginning of October, so his ERA may be higher. But Kershaw is a 2.43 regular season ERA and 4.22 postseason ERA.
Is that career?
Yeah.
Damn. So it's like almost 2-point difference.
And despite nearly identical strikeout and walk rates. So it's just like those few pitches that he's just being punished on.
Jeez.
What did you say his
Like 2.4.
postseason ERA was?
4.22. This is October 3rd, but maybe dated.
Oh, I have 4.31, but
So it
that
got higher.
yeah, because it has his last start versus Atlanta in here. Well, he's 0-1, so it might not be fully updated. But I guess this is a full season if you want to consider his postseason pitching stats. So 177 innings, you could admit it's like a full season, right? It's not ace worthy, but it's like, 25 starts. Actually, it's 35 games, so yeah, it's probably a full season. He's 11-12 career, 4.31 ERA is what I have on Baseball Reference.
Right.
It's just, again, night and day. His whip isn't bad. It's like 1.08, but there's a lot of negative numbers, and it's just different because you look at his career. His career, he's 175-76, which is a damn near 7.700 win percentage.
And I think it relates to that the Dodgers have they've been the best top 3 team in baseball, and this is their 8th consecutive year. And for a team in as iconic as the Dodgers to have not won in 32 years, it is a little connecting point between Kershaw's struggles and the fact that the Dodgers have had the best team in the last 8 years and haven't come away with anything. Maybe this is the year, or maybe the story just gets more sad.
I'm just amazed by these stats. It says ERA is 4.31 in the playoffs. It's 2.43 is his career. His worst ERA ever is 4.26, and that was in his first season. He only started 22 games. And that's still better than his postseason.
That poor guy.
These might be the best stats I've ever seen.
I don't know
For
what
a pitcher, at least.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, to be
There are
honest.
a lot of good stats
wild.
out there.
It's wild to see the difference between him and the regular. He has a 2.16 ERA this season in 2020, and then you go to the postseason, and they have it categorized by series. And he had one start against Milwaukee, and he went 8 innings, and only allowed 3 hits. But then you go to his one start against San Diego, and he has a 4.5 ERA. He went 6 innings and allowed 6 hits and 3 earned runs. And then, I don't know if we even want to talk about his last start where he just, completely blew up. But, it's just 2 different guys. And, this is one of the best pitchers in the game. One of the best in the game in the regular season. And he has the yips. He has the yips in the playoffs.
I think he's the best pitcher of our generation, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously Scherzer and Verlander are up there too, but they're a little bit older. But I'd probably still take the Kershaw career over both of them guys.
The peak of Kershaw.
Maybe the peak of Kershaw, I think, is a lot better than their peak. And I know Verlander won an MVP, but Kershaw also won an MVP, and he has, I think, more Cy Youngs than both of them combined. So
Verlander's got a couple rings, though.
The rings matter in baseball.
If I was a pitcher, if I had to choose between one of them, not statistics wise, but just career wise, I think rings matter.
I mean, to them, rings matter, but in the grand scheme of things, how we judge a player, it's not based on rings.
It grabs the ball every 5th day.
Not completely.
I mean, Barry Bonds on a ring, and I know he's a batter, but
all right. So with your season in the line, though, with your season on the line in the playoffs, Trey, are you gonna go with the guy that doesn't perform in the playoffs, or are you gonna
go with Clayton Kershaw?
That's what I'm saying, though.
It'd be crazy to go with Clayton Kershaw.
So here's another
Wait,
question.
wait. Hold on. Are we talking regular season or postseason?
We're talking playoffs. Yeah.
Because
have
if
a
I need to
game
get
to
in,
win.
I'm starting Kershaw all day.
So but
What's
here's
his name?
Go ahead.
You can go, Greg. I was just gonna say that one of the baseball writers put a poll on Twitter, and it was like, who would you rather have start Game 7, Charlie Morton or Clayton Kershaw? And it was like 50-50. I was like, damn.
They clearly don't understand. Game 7 is Chuck Morton. I mean, he won the Astros World Series. Pretty sure he pitched Game 7. He pitched Game 7 on Saturday versus.
And he pitched Game 4 of the 2013 NLDS.
Yeah, like
very well.
He's been pitching big games since he's left Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
he's been very good in those games. Like I knew for a fact the Rays were going to win as soon as I found out Charlie Morton was starting.
Yeah.
Like at that point, I was like, all right, it's over. Like he is Mr. Game 7.
Yeah, he's solid.
Modern day Mr. Game 7, I should say.
But I mean, we've been talking about Clayton Kershaw for so much. Let's actually get into the Rays a little bit because we haven't really talked about them too much. But I mean, they came up. So while the Dodgers came back from a 3-1 deficit, the Rays actually protected a 3-1 deficit. They're up 3-1 on the cheaters, the Astros.
3-0.
They're up 3-0. I thought it was 3-1.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, it was 3-1.
Wow.
Yeah, 3-0. So they protected the 3-0 deficit. Charlie Morton, like we said, got the big win in Game 7. They won 4-2 over the Astros. Guys, were we nervous at all in that series that the Astros would actually get to the World Series?
Yeah, it was like Super Bowl 51 all over again for me. I was like, no, they're coming back. And then, like, you just knew it was just, like, timely hit after timely hit. And it came down to it. I was like, this would really suck.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was thinking.
Game 7 Chuck came through.
The Correa walk-off was dope. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll say that. I love that walk-off. It's great moments like that. And I know they're cheaters, but I think we learned a lot about this Astros team, and that for the most part, they're really good. Some of them, like Altuve.
Mm-hmm.
I think Altuve's forever. I think he's a fraud.
Yeah.
That's just me. Based off of his season, anyone say it's all mental, like it's in his head, he got caught. It's like no, it can't be all mental. If he's that mentally weak, he shouldn't be playing professional sports.
Yeah,
like
you could
be,
especially baseball.
Yeah,
you could be. Baseball is such a mental game too.
It is a mental game. Like it's a mental grind, and I go out there, and this goes back to the way that like Correa was talking about. Like, I don't care. Like, he's a savage. And I was bashing him. Like, are you kidding me? You have no empathy? And it's like, okay, like, it actually worked. Like, forget the empathy. Like, yeah, I cheated. I'm not going to own it. Like, everyone knows it. I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. I'm going to go out there and perform because it's what I got to do. Yeah. To me, honestly, I got a little bit more respect for Carlos Correa than what I had before because of the fact that this dude was so negative and accepting what happened. And now he comes back and he actually has a good year by all standards, but then like we said, it came down to a big moment and he comes out and hits a home run. Like, to me, that proves that he's actually a good baseball player. Like him and George Springer are both like that. Like George Springer a little calm, cool, and collected, in terms of personality, but in terms of his bat, like he's insane. So but Altuve, he's a fraud. Dude's a massive fraud to me. Like,
a mental midget
mental
and a
aspect of the game. Like, forget that. But it was impressive. It really was. Showed a lot with the Astros. I personally, I want to know what would happen if Verlander was on that team.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point.
And one more point I want to make is that I know we bashed it before, but I think baseball has a chance to do this and get it right. I like playoff expansion. I've come around to it. Me and Brooksy talked about it on an episode where you weren't here.
Yeah.
We don't want to see 8 teams. I think that's way too many. I like 6 teams. I think 6 teams would be good. And I think the Astros proved that could be a good cutoff because that was pretty sure that team was like 31-29 or 29-31, somewhere around there. So like, you know, if they're 29-31, they're, you know, obviously under 500. But the bottom line is that team showed a lot of resiliency. That team showed a lot of grit, and that team battled until the very end. But in the end, Game 7 ground check.
So would you, that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. For 6 games, would you do like top 2 seeds get buys?
I would think you'd have to, and then do like a 3-game series.
Give an incentive.
Yeah.
Not just win your division, but to be one of those, like in what the NFL used to have.
Yeah. And you have to win. You have to win your division. That's first and foremost. But then you take the division winner, the second best record-wise division winner. You give an incentive,
winners.
And then you take the 2 teams or the 4 teams, and you could do a series of 3. Because I think the series of 3 was really cool.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
I like that idea. Okay.
Yeah, but if you go 8, I think it's clear as day. 8 teams, way too many. I know the Reds battled, sort of, in Game 1.
we all had the Reds like going deep, and
I had Reds versus Dodgers.
Yeah. Not I had the Yankees, but I had the Braves too.
I had Reds versus Dodgers in the NLCS. That didn't work out the way I thought it did.
I had that too. I was really high in the Reds. I thought Trevor Bauer was gonna just. I mean, he did have pretty.
He did his thing. He gave them a chance to win. He went in the 9th, and he let up 2 hits, no runs. Like, he was dominant. It's all the Reds. They didn't score a run.
Yeah.
In 22 innings in that series, they didn't score a run.
Random question outside of the World Series, though. Have you seen all of his social media antics lately? He literally is tagging like each team, and it's funny.
Marketing genius.
I think it's hilarious. I think the first team he did was the Red Sox, because he shared an airplane ticket to Boston. I was like, oh, he's coming to Boston. And then he did the same thing for someone else. And I was like, oh, that little bastard. He's just playing everyone against each other.
He's toying with you.
Right? So the Rays, they've kind of been playing pretty solid ball. I mean, what have we kind of thought about them through the playoffs so far? Sorry to change so quickly, but
we've been changing.
You'll watch them. Every night you'll watch them. You'll be like,
guys. I gotta keep this on track somehow, because we barely talked about the Rays.
What was the question?
About
the Rays?
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say was, like, you'll watch in any given night or game, and you're just like, where'd they get this guy? Oh, a trade? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think Rosenia obviously is the example, but even after that, the Manuel Margot, and like, there's just these guys that just come up and perform. And the craziest thing of it is, like, if you were blindly to tell a baseball fan that, like, doesn't know, farm systems, all this jazz, in this World Series matchup between the Rays and the Dodgers, in their Game 7 to get to the World Series, one of these teams, of the 10 potential rostered players, 9 hitters, 1 pitcher, one of these teams had 2 of those players be homegrown talent. What team would that be?
I would have guessed the Rays from the Rays.
No, but like, if you just vaguely know baseball, then you just be like, oh, the Dodgers, because they probably spend all their money and get all this. Yeah. No, but it was the Rays, and it's insane, like, the amount of where they don't have, like, superstars lined up. They're just, like, playing their players that line up to the best matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they're the most interesting team by far. So I think, like, a really cool storyline is you have the most interesting team against the most just powerful team. Like, I'm looking at now a chart that's each team's World Series rosters and how they were built. The Rays have acquired half of their 40-man roster via trade.
Never,
That's
ever, ever trade with the Rays.
no,
I'm serious. Don't do
don't.
it. Like if you're any franchise, don't do it. And this ain't like the glass on trade. I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brooksy, but
Shane
it's
Boss.
incredible. Shane Boss isn't even there yet, but we talk about Glass now, obviously, we talk about Meadows. Rosarina. Rainy Rosarina, the man who is the ALCS MVP. Acquired in a trade Matt Liebertor, who was a prospect for them from the Cardinals. Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson's a guy who pitched in the bullpen for Game 7. He got a hold, went 2 innings. He's the one who relieved Charlie Morton in the 6th. Got him in a trade from the Braves. Peter Fairbanks. Peter Fairbanks is a guy that got the save in Game 7. Got him in a trade from the Rangers. It's like all these guys that they acquire, and it's like, why are they doing this? Because these guys, like Nick Anderson was decent in Milwaukee. He wasn't anything he is now, and they just completely unlocked his potential. Peter Fairbanks was not good in Texas, and it looked like that was going to be a heist because they traded Nick Solak, who Nick Solak looked like Rookie of the Year, type material. And it's like, oh, who's that? Fairbanks, to me, he's unhittable. And that's just another piece that they have in their bullpen to pair along with Nicky Anderson. It's like, okay, that's what makes a team like the Rays so dominant. It's like, okay, you can get your starter to go 6 innings, you can shut it down. Because that's what happened in Game 7.
Yeah.
In Rosarina, I mean, he homered damn near every at bat. But this dude broke the total base record for a rookie. I'm pretty sure, maybe not even a rookie, like any player. He broke the total base record that Gurriel had and Yuli Gurriel had in Houston during their run in 17. Broken in half the games. Like, these guys, they just acquire in this trade. It's like, okay, well, why do you want this guy? It's like, they have a method to their madness, and it's so insane that, like, they don't spend any money. No one says anything because they're legitimately just smarter than you. Like, just don't trade with the Rays. That's the whole bottom line.
Just don't trade with the Rays.
Don't do it.
Never accept a trade.
No.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I got Kyle Bloom up in Boston, and he's gonna turn it around.
Is he from the Rays organization?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We really will, because like anyone comes from that organization, they're gonna, if they get a payroll, they're gonna build something, and that's why the Dodgers in the World Series, because Andrew Friedman took over the Dodgers GM job, and look what they are now.
Yeah.
Brooksy touched on it earlier. They had a full rotation of guys that just aren't there anymore, and then you see guys like Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. Those are homegrown talents.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. All right, guys. So we got Game 1 tonight. What's the prediction? I don't know what that means.
I feel like I've picked boring this whole time, so I might as well continue. Dodgers in 6.
Okay.
I think, yeah, the way that they came out, down 3-1, yeah, I think they're going to do it in 6.
I got the Rays in 7. I've been going to Dodgers all year, but something about the Dodgers, to me, I think this is more about the Braves blowing a 3-1 lead than the Dodgers coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They got beat down in the first 2 games, and then they gave a beat down in Game 3. And that beat down in Game 3 sort of swung the series. But to me, the Braves just aren't there yet. Like, a lot of their guys, especially in their rotation, so young. And they got bullpen arms, but the way they're built is offensively. And, I mean, their offense – it had a little bit of holes down the stretch. Like, you could tell these guys were tired. You could tell that they were trying to battle. And to me, the Rays, they're ready for this moment. The way that they handled Houston, the way they handled the Yankees, like usually that series with the Yankees, that's a series they lose. That's a series that they've lost before. That's a series I expect them to lose because they've been doing it in the past. Like now with all these guys that they have, and it's a different guy every night, and their bullpen is just so dominant. Like their starter only has to go 5, and then you could just hand the ball off to those guys in the pen, and they're just going to shut it down. I got the Rays in 7. I think Cash is the better manager. I think that the Rays, I think somehow they're the smarter organization despite their payroll. I just expect them to go out there and, I guess, pull off the impossible. Plus, on the other side with the Dodgers, yeah, they're prepared for this moment, but they've been prepared for it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I feel like this year it's just going to be the same thing.
I've been like, as both of you have been talking, I've been like going back and forth. I think I'm going to go Dodgers in 7. This is the 3rd time they've been here in 4 years. They might not have like their full starting rotation, but they go out and they get Mookie Betts. I think he's going to come out and he's going to play a huge role in the World Series. I think it's just going to come down if their pitching can perform. If Clayton Kershaw comes out and has even a decent game tonight, where he goes maybe 5-6 innings and limits them to like 1 or 2 runs, like I think this Dodgers lineup is going to wake up here at some point and they're going to score a lot of runs in the World Series. I think that's what it's going to come down to, is the Dodgers scoring a lot of runs, and I think this is the year they finally get it done. But if it's a close series, I think the Rays are going to come out on top. But I'm going to go with the Dodgers in 7.
I guess just breaking this down, not to try and sway your opinion. Well, you got to look at it 3 facets. Lineup advantage Dodgers, but then pitching, starting pitching,
Rays,
and bullpen,
Rays.
I got pitching over hitting, so
yeah.
But it's the degree of each.
Mm-hmm.
So like putting a weight on each of them.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers bats outweigh the Rays bats more than the Rays pitching outweighs.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment too. I can't say I disagree with that at all.
The thing for me is like if
it's not like they're bums. They're good pitchers over there in the Dodger organization.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger and Mookie Betts are bums. Mookie Betts make 4 straight Gold Glove plays in 4 straight games, not 3. You wuss.
We haven't even talked about the defense that's going to happen in this game. Like the defense in this game is going to be insane.
There's so much to talk about.
It's very interesting.
Like the matchup.
These are like the 2 teams that are ahead of the curve in terms of baseball next generation strategy. And like one of those things is like defense and defensive alignment. So this series is a whole bunch of interesting. And it's nice that it's not around what it potentially could have been of like the Astros, storyline and cheating there. It's nice that this is just like really interesting part of baseball where you have high payroll versus low payroll, both just the best team in their league all throughout the year. And with there being that next generation peak at, all right, what's going to be the drivers in creating like great baseball teams. I'm excited.
I am too. I'm
thrilled. Game 1 starts tonight, 8:09 p.m. on Fox. Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Glasnow. It's going to be an interesting series. So Dodgers in 6, Rays in 7, Dodgers in 7. We're going to see how it goes. We'll probably meet up at some point throughout the middle of the series, I would assume, to talk about it a little bit more and go from there. But thanks for joining us, guys, for another episode of Heart of the Order, brought to you by thoughtsfromthebench.com. Have a good one.